Well, good evening, everybody. It's about 8:30. It's kind of late, and I'm just kind of going over some of the day's news stories. I like to wait till the whole day go by before really running down a lot of the major events that's going on in the news. But this has just been over for the last few days that because I haven't made a video yesterday. But so it looks like here on Thursday, Putin announced in a speech. I'm making all that noise this late. But anyway, on Thursday, Vladimir Putin addressed the Russian public with an unannounced televised speech. In his address, it says the dictator stated that Russian military facilities in the Bryansk and Kursk regions were attacked by Western missiles. So according to him, the conflict in Ukraine has taken on global elements. So he emphasized that in response to these strikes, Russia has launched combined attacks on Ukrainian military industrial facilities. It says on Thursday, for the first time, a medium-range ballistic missile, Orezhnik, was launched. It said Russia has launched a medium-range ballistic missile called Orezhnik. He cynically stated that Russia would inform the civilian population in advance in the event of using these missiles again so they could evacuate. So he's going to be giving them the courtesy of evacuation before they launch another one of these missiles. And they were saying something about this is the first time one of these type of missiles have been used in human history. First time during any war that these type of missiles have been launched. Says Russian President Putin warned the West against further escalation after Moscow fired an intermediate-range ballistic missile capable of carrying nuclear warheads at Ukraine for the first time. Putin said Russia had used a new type of missile, and that's what it's called, the Orezhnik, to strike a major Ukrainian defense. He said that the country, Russia, has the right to use its weapons on other nations that allow their weapons to be used against Russia. So that means the United States and any other NATO countries or any other countries, period, that has given Ukraine any type of weapons to strike inside of Russia. Let's see. Moscow had warned of a response to Ukrainian strikes against its territory using long-range Western arms this week, including U.S.-made ATACMS and British-supplied Storm Shadow missiles. If anyone doubts that we're ready for any development, then they're mistaken, Putin said. So in Washington, U.S. officials called the missile a new intermediate-range experimental model, one that was fired by Moscow as part of its continuing effort to deter the West from helping Ukraine. So they fired this missile. It's kind of like a dummy missile, or it's like a test run they hit Ukraine with. But they're saying Putin is letting the United States and the West know that we will hit one of your countries. We will hit one of your territories with one of these missiles if you keep pushing us. And they are pretty much this strike was a signal, and they're saying that it's a signal to Europe because both Putin and Medvedev have made threats in the past that they could blow England and Great Britain off the map pretty much. And so that's what I look to happen, is that if this thing keeps escalating, they're going to hit a country in Europe and blow it off the map. They keep pushing Putin back. They keep pushing his back against the wall, and that's what he's going to do. He's going to destroy one of those European countries and just blow it into oblivion. And they've been threatening Great Britain. So Prime Minister Starmer, you sent those Storm Shadow missiles. They hit Russia with them missiles. Look for Great Britain to get struck. You're gonna get hit. And Medvedev, who is in charge of the nuclear forces, that's what, per Putin, that's what he said in his speech. He said Dmitry Medvedev, who is the former president of Russia, he is now in charge of their nuclear forces. And Medvedev hates the West worse than Putin. So y'all pushing them up against the wall. You pushing Russia against the wall. And both Medvedev and Putin said they'll blow Great Britain off the map pretty much. So they about to FA and FO. The West is about to FA and FO. And in the meantime, in between time, Kim Jong-un made a speech today. He's the Prime Minister of North Korea. He made a speech today. Remember him and Donald Trump used to be kind of cool, but Kim Jong-un, his energy is different now. He said, my attitude and my energy is all the way different now from Trump when Trump was first president back in 2016. He's pretty much said, y'all better come on some other stuff or we're not interested in no type of negotiations whatsoever. This is Kim Jong-un now, who Donald Trump claimed was his buddy at one time. He's letting him know that it's different now. You know, we're in a different position now. And we're not interested in negotiating anything with you unless you come correct. That's Kim Jong-un, North Korea, and they're helping out Russia in Ukraine right now as we speak. So, all right, what else? What else am I going to talk about? Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. I told y'all he's going to play a role in those Middle East peace talks with Trump during his second administration in January. They're going to resume those Middle East peace talks with that Abraham Accord that Kushner spearheaded during Trump's first administration. So he said that although he would not formally be part of the administration this second time around, regional diplomats and Trump allies recognize that Kushner, who has significant financial interests in the Gulf, have forged deep relationships from his position as a senior White House advisor for the first Trump administration. He got a lot of money from those Saudi billionaires, those sheiks and those Saudi billionaires and those oil barons over there in the Middle East. His family has gotten hundreds of millions of dollars from those men over there, those world leaders over there. So he's indebted to them pretty much. Okay, so no one on the incoming team has what Jared has, and that is trust, because that's his son-in-law. That's Trump's son-in-law. He's married to his daughter, his favorite child. Well, I don't know who's his favorite child now. It might be Barron now, since Barron is growing older, and he thinks Barron has the leadership abilities to replace him or be a leader one day that his other two sons don't have. But for Ivanka was his favorite child. That was his golden child for a long time, and Jared is married to the golden child in Trump's family. So they're saying that Kushner has a lot of trust with Trump. So it says friendships are forever in this region. An Israeli source who dealt with the Trump's first administration told CNN, "My assumption is that his role is much more in his hands than anybody else's." So they're saying that Kushner just has more weight with Trump than anybody in his administration will ever have, because he's family. That's his son-in-law. So another president, Joe Biden, took office 4 years ago. Kushner and his wife Ivanka Trump moved to Florida and largely avoided politics. Yeah, they got out because they were scared of being indicted. He founded an investment company, fund shortly after leaving the White House, with major backing from sovereign wealth funds in the Gulf, in the Middle East. Yeah, he got a lot of Middle Eastern investors in the UAE and Saudi Arabia and all those places. Kushner's close ties with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, as well as to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, could allow for more private contacts, the report noted. Because, they said that he's known Benjamin Netanyahu since he was a child, since he was a boy. And then he's got these business contacts and business connects with the Saudi Arabian, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman. So he can work out a negotiation under his Abraham Accord. Kushner can do that. He has the ability to do that. Trump has the ability to do that with Kushner, with his son-in-law. So, It says, let me go ahead and read it. The second Trump administration is certain to make the expansion of the landmark 2020 Abraham Accords, which Kushner spearheaded, a cornerstone of its Middle Eastern program, with a push toward reaching a historic normalization. This is leading up to the two-state solution. And I posted on here a video a couple of years ago where Kushner is saying that that's exactly what his proposal would be, for Palestine to have their own state and for Israel to be able to coincide with them without any threats from the Arab community. So it's basically a two-state solution. I'll put the video up there from 2 years ago. He just flat out said that, straight out the horse's mouth. So, what else? Let me see. So, he's going to play, I told y'all, he's going to play a key role in this false peace treaty in the Middle East. Even if it's from behind the scenes, he's going to play a key role. Even though he doesn't have a formal government title in Trump's second administration, he will be a key figure in the formulation of this peace treaty that's going to bring about this false peace that the Bible prophesied will be brought about in the end times between the Jews and the Arab communities in the Middle East. That's going to happen. It's formulating right now as we speak. It was happening back in Trump's first administration, but it took a break when he got voted out of office and indicted and all this other stuff. But now that he's back, they're going to resume this peace treaty, and it's going to take place. It's going to happen. End time prophecy being fulfilled. So, popular YouTube vlogger, his name is Dave Parkman, and he's a leftist, and he pointed out that, and I noticed it too. It was true that Trump appeared kind of frail. Trump had attended like a rocket launch or something, one of Elon Musk's SpaceX rocket launches. That was on Thursday. And Parkman, he kind of pointed out that Trump looked kind of frail and disoriented, and he did. He looked different. He didn't look like he didn't look like himself. I don't know if he was feeling well or what. So he attended this thing. There were some minor difficulties, but this is expected with those spacecrafts of Elon Musk. There's a minor difficulty, but they watched the thing launch and then come back, or whatever it was. The purpose of that thing was. But nothing seems to go really smoothly with these events, but for the most part, I think it achieved whatever they was trying to accomplish. And Trump was there, seeing how hundreds of billions of dollars, or billions of dollars in taxpayer funds are going to be spent over the next 4 years, or however long him and Musk remain friends. So, anyway, Trump looks sick and disoriented is just an indication of, to me, the man is almost 80 years old. Was he 78? About to be 79, something like that. And it's just that there's going to be a new power elite that's about to take over once the baby boomer generation of this leadership of government dies off. And that generation, I mean the Mitch McConnells, the Chuck Schumers, the Nancy Pelosi's, and the Maxine Waters, and all those old timers that's in their 80s. Once that generation dies off, and Trump, once they die off, the new generation will be the J.D. Vances, the Jared Kushners, the Marjorie Taylor Greens, the Jasmine Crockett's, Hakeem Jeffries, Gavin Newsom's. Both sides, both parties. This is the new generation that's taking over, and they will have puppet masters. Such as, Elon Musk, he will be one of the behind-the-scenes wizards. He will be the puppet master. But Elon Musk is kind of making himself more out there in the public, more on the scene. He's not operating from behind the scenes. He's way out front. I don't know what his purpose is, what his motive is. Is he trying to be co-president, co-vice president, or what Musk is? I don't know what his intentions are, why he's so public out there, and why he's so glued to Trump's side at this point, and why he's meddling in all these government affairs. So, but anyway, he's one of the puppet masters because he's the money behind. He's the part of the the technocrats that has bought this government pretty much. And it's not only going to be, it's going to be Elon Musk, this Peter Thiel dude that funded Vance's sugar daddy or whatever he is, his biggest financial backer. They're going to replace all the people like George Soros and all of them. It's going to be Musk and Thiel and all these different people. Possibly Mark Cuban. They're going to be the money behind controlling the government. They're going to replace all the old heads that's dying off. So if Trump is unable to compete this second term, J.D. Vance is going to be president, and Kushner may possibly move to a more prominent leadership position if Trump becomes incompetent, or demented and too senile, or suffer from some type of cognitive disease like Alzheimer's or something like that, or Parkinson's. Kushner will probably be the one to step in and try to run the presidency, because them two sons of his, Eric and Donald Jr., they're just not capable. They're not leadership material. And Barron is he's too young and too unseasoned at 18, so it'll more than likely be Kushner. J.D. Vance and Kushner. But J.D. Vance is going to be, I believe this man is compromised because he's bought and paid for. Yeah. They can control Vance. And probably can control Kushner too, because they got dirt on him with these whole Saudi Middle Eastern business ties. So that's what's going to happen in the future. But I don't think this whole regime is going to be in power for too long. Per the Bible prophecy, they're not going to be in control for too long. I just don't think so. It's going to be short-lived. If it goes further than Trump's administration, these 4 years, I would be very shocked. But I don't think it's going to be for long. Trump has been sent to destroy this country. To finish destroying this country. Trump has been sent to bring America to its knees. That's my opinion. That's my personal opinion. He's been appointed at this time to bring this country to its knees, to destroy this country. That's just my opinion. So, yeah. So look for J.D. Vance. That's who y'all voted for. Because Trump is old. Trump is near 80 years old. We don't know if he got another 4 years in him. And if not, then J.D. Vance will be president. And if Trump stays in office, like, remember they said Ronald Reagan, he suffered from Alzheimer's, but yet he still was in office during some of his early symptoms of Alzheimer's. He was still in office. That may be the case with Trump. And Kushner and all these other people may be running the presidency from behind the scenes, like they say Biden, like they're accusing Biden and others of doing now. So, anyway, where am I at? So yeah, Trump, he didn't look right. David Parkman, he had a point there. He did not look right. And like I said, anything happens to Trump, and it doesn't matter who's in control and who's in power. Both the Democrats and the Republicans, they all get their marching orders from the elite powers that be anyway. So it doesn't matter which party is in control. They're all ruled by Satan at the end of the day, who is the God of this world. The powers that be and the politicians that they control, the politician puppets, they're all under control of Satan. All of them are. So, the International Criminal Court has issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. They done turned on Netanyahu. They issued warrants for Netanyahu, his former defense minister Yoav Gallant, and Hamas military chief Mohammed Daif for war crimes in Gaza and crimes against humanity. So, because of these warrants have been issued, several countries, such as the Netherlands, France, Belgium, and Jordan, Canada, Poland, Hungary, let me see. A lot of these countries said that they're going to arrest Netanyahu if they step foot in their countries or in their cities. They said that they are going to enforce the arrest warrants. And they said this decision means that these leaders will face restrictions on entering 124 countries worldwide. So this warrant will be effective in 124 countries worldwide. If Netanyahu, Gallant, or this Hamas leader were to step foot in any one of those countries, they can be arrested and sent to The Hague. So, the implication of these orders, these arrest warrants, are profound. And they'll be unable to enter numerous countries, including the Czech Republic, Hungary, Poland, Greece, Germany, the United Kingdom, Spain, Australia, Canada, the Seychelles, South Africa, Cyprus, South Korea, Argentina, and Brazil. The extensive travel ban reflects the serious nature of the ICC's decision and underscores the potential diplomatic repercussions for Israel. Even this Arab American mayor in Dearborn, Michigan, his name is Abdullah Hamad, has said that if Netanyahu comes to Dearborn, Michigan, he's going to enforce the arrest warrant. He's going to have him arrested if he steps foot in his city in Dearborn, Michigan. Although he would have an uphill battle in America of arresting Netanyahu, and he will face severe political retribution if he lays a finger on Gallant or Netanyahu. So that threat doesn't have any teeth. That's a toothless tiger that he's saying. Because he better not touch a hair on neither one of those men. Dearborn, the mayor of Dearborn, doesn't have that kind of clout that he can touch Netanyahu if Netanyahu comes to America. So what else? But it's just like in the last days. The Bible said a lot of these countries are going to turn on Israel, and that's what's happening. They're turning on Israel. All of these countries are saying, yeah, we're going to arrest him if he comes here. They're turning on Israel, just like it was prophesied in the Holy Bible, the Holy Book. So, what's going on? Oh, there's a story about in South Africa that America doesn't really talk about over here. That's why I like the world news. But apparently there is like 4,000 miners, illegal miners, trapped underground in a gold mine in South Africa. And the dilemma over there is that it is as many as 4,000 illegal miners trapped underground in an abandoned mine, apparently fearing arrest by the police if they come above ground. So the mine was no longer in operation, and they went down there illegally searching for gold. It's a gold mine. And the police initially prevented basic supplies from being sent down there to the miners because they're trapped down there. They are somehow they are trapped down there. 4,000 miners, illegal miners, are trapped in the gold mine down there. They were gold digging, searching for gold, and ended up getting trapped down there. So now they are being required to be sent food and supplies in order to stay alive. Water, food, supplies, and stuff like that at this point. So the police there, it says that they initially prevented basic supplies from being shipped down there to the miners. They said the community was trying to help the miners out by sending food and supplies down there. And the police prevented the community from helping these miners. And then it says, but they are now sending them packets of instant porridge and trying to get them to come up to the surface so they can arrest them for illegal mining. So the illegal miners, known as zama-zamas or hustlers in the Zulu language, search for gold and other precious metal deposits at old and abandoned mines that have been closed or where mining has been halted for whatever reason. Police consider these illegal miners dangerous because they're usually armed and are known to fight violent turf battles among themselves, because these are diamond mines, gold mines, they are fighting over who gets to go down into those mines searching for these buried treasures. So it said the trade is believed to be dominated by migrants who enter the country illegally from neighboring Lesotho, Zimbabwe, and Mozambique. It says the police have at times announced successes in arresting these illegal miners, but they say they cannot combat the practice unless powerful kingpins who run these lucrative syndicates from the trade are apprehended. So it's kind of like African cartels. It's kind of like how the Mexican cartels are running, in Mexico, or conducting themselves down in Mexico. Well, this is happening over in Africa with these mining gangs, with these mining cartels that are going into these mines illegally, searching for gold and diamonds and things like that. And it says the government estimates that there are about 6,000 unused or abandoned mines in South Africa, and that close to $1 billion is lost annually in revenue due to illegal mining. It says since last December, police, government agencies, and the military have joined forces in an operation dubbed Close the Hole, or Vala Umgadi in Zulu. And it is basically trying to starve the illegal miners underground by deny them food. So they're trying to starve them by not sending them no food, because they're saying you shouldn't have been down there in the first place. So we're not going to send you any food and no water, nothing like that. So you just die down there, starve and die down there in the ground, pretty much. And they said better not nobody in the community send them any food. So it says workers in groups, Zama-Zamas, also known as hustlers in Zulu, typically remain in the mines for extended periods of time, relying on those on the surface to provide them with food, water, cigarettes, and other items. But since the operation began, police have arrested the above-ground accomplices and those trying to take supplies to these illegal miners. It says they have closed. Did I lose my place? So they have closed entrances on the ground for taking supplies down. So they're blocking the community from helping these miners. The tactic seems to be trying to force the miners to the surface as their supplies run out. So they figure if you ain't got no food, eventually you're going to have to come up. Or either you stay down there and starve. So police say that so far 14,000 illegal miners have been arrested, and that $277,000 in cash and $1.8 million worth of uncut diamonds have been seized. See, they're finding diamonds and gold and stuff down in those mines. That's why they've been going down there digging. So they want to be able to get that stuff instead of those miner gangs. That's what that's about. It says the mine is 2,500 meters deep, and getting the Zama-Zamas, many of them likely armed, out by force would be very risky. 3 illegal miners have reportedly come out, and last Thursday a decomposed body, believed to be one of the miners, was brought to the surface. Police said that they are still trying to determine the person's identity and cause of death. Initial estimates based on information from community members who tried to mediate say there are about 4,500 illegal miners underground, but police have since suggested the number is more likely between 350 and 400. That's still a lot of people just trapped underground in a mine. 400 people trapped underground, needing food and water. That's like a small town, a small village, a whole village down there trapped in an abandoned mine because they're trying to search for gold and diamonds. Says police authorities this week said that they plan to send a cage down the mine to lift some of the miners up out of there, a few at a time. But the safety of such an operation would need to be assessed first. That's going to be a lot of sending. A lot of, I don't know how they're going to do that. It says the government is also considering sending a camera down to have a visual idea of the situation underground. A civil society group has gone to court to try and force authorities to allow supplies to be sent to the miners, so they just sending them some porridge and water probably. The government argues that they are not trapped but refusing to come out to avoid arrest. So that's why they said, we're just going to send them some porridge and water, and eventually we're going to stop and force them to come up. They don't think that they're trapped down there. And the people are saying that, yes, they are trapped down there. We should be able to send them food and supplies and water. So they're in court tied up about that. So they're now digging. They're down there digging for gold illegally, got trapped, now need food and water, sent down there to survive pretty much. The authorities refused to let the local community members to help out. The authority wanted to starve the miners out and make them come up out the mine so that they can arrest them. And so now, this is all tied up in court to determine the fate of these miners. Isn't that weird? So, over in Haiti, the violence in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, last week has left at least 150 people dead, bringing the number of deaths in Haiti this year to over 4,500, according to the United Nations. The latest upsurge in violence in Haiti's capital is a harbinger of worse to come. The United Nations Rights Chief Volker Turk warned in a statement that the gang violence must be promptly halted. Haiti must not be allowed to descend further into chaos. I don't know how much further they can sink. It's already out of control. It says violence has intensified dramatically in Port-au-Prince since November 11th as a coalition of gangs pushes for full control of the Haitian capital. They are trying to literally take over the capital of Haiti, these gangs. That's just like a gang trying to literally just storm Washington, D.C. or New York and just take over the entire city. That's what's happening over in Haiti. It says well-armed gangs control some 80% of the city, the capital city in that country, routinely targeting civilians despite a Kenyan-led international force that has been deployed to help the outgunned police restore some government order. So they had to deploy Kenyan military down there in order to help the Haitian authorities out. It says at least 150 people have been killed, 92 injured, and about 20,000 forced to flee their homes over the past week. In addition, Port-au-Prince's estimated 4 million people are practically being held hostage as gangs now control all the main roads and out of the capital. So, Monica Juma, Kenya's presidential national security advisor, said on Wednesday that her nation backs calls from Haiti for the United Nations to consider turning the current international security mission into a formal UN peacekeeping mission. So they're going to seek help from all other countries in order to, gain control and to help them out. Kenya needs help. They can't do it. They can't do it by themselves. They can't help the Haitians by themselves. So now they're seeking help from the United Nations Security Council, pretty much. It says the current mission has deployed just a fraction of troops pledged by a handful of countries and less than $100 million in its dedicated funds. So they're only receiving like $100 million in funds and a few troops, 1,000 troops, in military aid, and they need more, pretty much. So what happened this time around is that it says the Turks said that at least 55% of the deaths from simultaneous and apparently coordinated attacks in the capital resulted from exchanges of fire between gang members and police. He also highlighted reports of a rise in mob lynchings. Authorities said that Tuesday that police and civilian self-defense groups have killed 28 members in Port-au-Prince over an overnight operation as the government seeks to gain control. Last year, in a gruesome chapter of the vigilante reprisals, a dozen alleged gang members were stoned and burned alive by residents in Port-au-Prince. So the residents down there are fighting back. And you would think that with a city with 4 million residents, they should be able to overcome those gangs and overpower those gangs. You've got 4 million strong down there. If you really want to take back your city, then you need to take up arms like some of these civilians are doing and run those gangs up out of that city. It's 4 million of y'all. There's no way that these gangs should be able to overrun that whole entire city with that many people. So, this brought the verified casualty toll of the gang violence so far this year to a shocking 4,544 dead and 2,060 injured. The real toll, it stressed, is likely higher. In addition, an estimated 700,000 people are now internally displaced across the country. Half of them are children. Turk warned that the endless gang violence and widespread insecurity are deepening the dire humanitarian crisis in this country, including the impacts of severe food and water shortages and the spread of infectious diseases. This was happening at a time when the health system is already on the brink of collapse. That country is on the brink of collapse. That country has collapsed. There is not on the brink of nothing. That country has collapsed pretty much. That's why they're trying to come over here to America. Cuba has collapsed too. That's why they're trying to come over here. So they're saying gang violence must not prevail over the institutions of the state, he said, demanding concrete steps to protect the population and to restore effective rule of law. So the cities in Haiti have now taken up arms, some of them, in self-defense and help the police and military forces fight off the gangs. But with 4 million people, they should be able to get those gangs out of that country or out of that capital city. And they shouldn't need no more help with that many people. So here in my neck of the woods, the NFL sent a memo. The National Football League sent a memo to team security directors and the NFL Players Association regarding the recent home burglaries of Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes of the Kansas City Chiefs. It says the alert was reported by NFL.com's Tom Pelissero on Thursday. Citing sources, Fox 4 broke news earlier this week that investigators believe that a South American crime ring was targeting these athletes' homes, Mahomes and Kelce's homes, in October, because they also broke into another athlete's home in Minnesota. I think his name was Bobby Portis, and I believe he was he a football player or a basketball player? Okay, he plays for the Vikings. Let me go ahead and just read this article. I'm skipping over some stuff. So they broke into Kelce and Mahomes' houses here in Kansas City in October. And it says that the NFL security says that the group is exploiting victims by gathering information through social media, public records, and other media reports. So they're looking these athletes up. And it says that they, in addition to other professional athletes across the country and other high-end homes in the metro, Pelissero says his sources say that the NFL security confirmed that the same crime pattern, and the FBI is investigating this as an international organized crime ring. And they're looking these wealthy individuals up. And so the memo goes on to say that the thieves are targeting homes in secluded areas and are honing in on safes, high-end jewelry, handbags, cash, and watches. I know they said they made off with like $20,000 in Travis Kelce's home. A case of this magnitude can cross state lines and international lines, is exactly what the FBI is in the business of doing, and they'll be invaluable to this investigation. So they're saying that this is like a Venezuelan or South American gang that is targeting these wealthy houses and these athletes' homes and breaking in them. And I bet you what it is that you have a work crew full of illegals. You have these wealthy people that have work crews that include illegal migrants, or workers that are over here illegally from South America and Venezuela and Mexico and all these places, and they go into these nice neighborhoods, into these homes, and they come back in there and they break in them and they raid them. That's what's happening. So outside of football, let me see. It says, in addition to Mahomes and Kelce, it says former Minnesota Vikings and current Dallas Cowboy Linval Joseph's Minnesota home was targeted. Outside of football, the same ring of burglars is suspected of stealing from NBA players Bobby Portis in Wisconsin and Mike Conley in Minnesota. So they're seeking out these athletes and running up in their homes. Fox 4 learned that $20,000 in cash was stolen from Kelce's home. It's unknown what was taken from Mahomes, and the other connected burglary at a high-end home saw burglars take more than $500,000 in jewelry. In that burglary, thieves were seen on surveillance video wearing full hazmat suits. So this is a sophisticated operation. It's not some guy that's going down to the local pawn shop. This is a sophisticated international crime ring. And I told y'all it's probably those illegal work crews that are casing out those houses and going up in there, running up in them. That's what's happening. So they said, it doesn't surprise me at all that this crime spree that is going across the country is designed by some very sophisticated people in somewhat of a cartel. So it's like a burglary cartel, or an arm of a drug cartel that commits home invasions and burglaries. So police believe these crooks from South America hit at least 3 homes in our area, dressed in what appears to be full hazmat suits. The question, Where does this investigation go now? The former special agent in charge, Michael Tapman, has a few ideas. Gathering intelligence could be comparing notes on physical evidence, what informants are telling them. So they do have informants that are telling, they probably got caught and they're telling what they do. Like this, they probably dress in hazmat suits, dress as utility workers, dress as work crews, roofers and things like that to throw the neighbors off, and they run up in these houses. That's what they're doing. So the FBI may have set up some sort of command center. All of that will help coordinate leads and tips that will be followed up according to Tapman's basic investigation techniques. So the FBI is in on this. So this is a high-tech international criminal burglary operation that is targeting rich athletes in affluent neighborhoods, running up in these people's houses. So these are more than likely work crews full of illegal immigrants that are doing this. So there's another way that these illegals are coming over here committing crimes. It's all kind of ways they coming across this border committing crimes. They running up into people's houses, committing murders, rapes, assaults on law enforcement, Lord knows what else. And they giving them welfare to do it. They giving them free government assistance and cell phones and stuff to commit all these crimes. 2 undocumented, get this, here's another one. 2 undocumented Venezuelan men are accused of using a skimmer at a Richmond, Missouri bank ATM, resulting in nearly $6,700 in losses for at least 45 victims. This is in little old small Richmond, Missouri, which is like 40 minutes outside of Kansas City, half an hour, something like that. So it says Darwin G. Moreno Conde, age 24, and Jorben Y. Allen Hernandez, age 44, were arrested in Kirkwood, Missouri, small towns in Missouri, last week after a search encompassing both the Kansas City and St. Louis metro areas. So they were hitting up Kansas City and St. Louis metro ATMs and skimming these ATMs. It says this has been happening all over the metro area over the last couple of months, says Richmond Police Chief Scott Bagley. Court records indicate that the 2 men specifically targeted Bank Midwest ATMs in Richmond, Lee Summit, Missouri, Raymore, Missouri, Liberty, Missouri, and Edwardsville, Kansas. So that's the general Kansas City, metro Kansas City area. Edwardsville Police Chief Rance Quinn said that after an ATM had been hit at the Bank Midwest, his officers conducted a surveillance operation. They so stupid. Don't they know that those ATMs have cameras? The officer saw a suspect unsuccessfully try to put a scammer on the ATM. A pursuit ensued, but officers were unable to catch the suspect. However, a Venezuelan ID for Allen Hernandez was recovered. How much you want to bet he's Tren de Aragua? How much you want to bet? Chief Quinn said that this is an ongoing investigation and the charges are likely. Richmond police obtained surveillance video of the vehicle investigators say was used in the skimming scheme at the Bank Midwest in that town. The vehicle's license plate was tracked using the flock camera system from Richmond east across the state to Kirkwood and the St. Louis area. So they were statewide all over Kansas City and St. Louis and Missouri, hitting up those Bank Midwest ATMs. They were arrested in Kirkwood, then brought back to Richmond on felony charges of first-degree property damage and stealing. Obviously, these people are coming into the country illegally, and they're committing crimes here. They should be held to the same standards as anybody else, Chief Bagley said. Because these 2 men are considered a flight risk due to their immigration status, they're each being held at the Ray County Jail in lieu of a $250,000 cash bond. Court records show a Detroit immigration judge has already ordered Allen Hernandez to be deported. So he was committing crimes up in Detroit. He had something going on in Detroit already that an immigration judge had already ordered him to be deported. But he came down, he must have escaped somehow to Missouri and started committing crimes in Kansas City and St. Louis and some parts of Kansas. So Moreno Conde is due before an immigration judge in Dallas, the other one. he's due for an immigration judge in Dallas. So he must have been doing something in Texas, in Dallas. He had a court date in Dallas. So they ain't gonna do nothing but deport him, and then they're gonna figure out a way to come right back over here. That's what they're gonna do. There was a video that I put up here. I think I put it up here that showed 1,500 people crossing the border from a city in Mexico just yesterday, the day before yesterday. About 1,500 people just walking right over here to America. They said they're trying to hurry up and get over here before Trump gets into office in January. And they're coming by the thousands every day. So the LA City Council has voted to declare themselves a sanctuary city. And they're saying that they're going to, this LA City Council has declared themselves a sanctuary city. And they said that they're going to fight the Trump administration in this whole mass deportation operation that Trump promises to implement when he takes office. So the Los Angeles City Council on Tuesday tentatively backed a sanctuary city law that forbids city employees and resources from being involved in federal immigration enforcement. The law would not stop the federal government from carrying out the mass deportation in LA, but still they're saying that they are going to resist the mass deportation efforts of the Trump administration. Also on Tuesday, the Los Angeles School Board affirmed the nation's second largest school system as a sanctuary for immigrants and the LGBTQ community. Councilmember Bob Blumenfield, who represents the central San Fernando Valley, said Tuesday that the city is hardening our defenses in the face of Trump's election. The law, which passed unanimously by the City Council, will be revised by the city's attorney's office after the council approved minor amendments. So I look at it like this: since they vote and they want them there, then all of them that come over here to this country, ship them to Los Angeles. And don't give them no type of federal funds, no type of support or nothing. Let them all go to LA. Since LA wants to make themselves a sanctuary city for illegal immigration, ship them all to LA. Let LA deal with them, and don't give them no federal funds, no type of assistance whatsoever. Because Donald Trump has already said that he will use military, state, and local law enforcement to police the borders and to carry out this mass deportation. During his last presidency, Trump deported about 1.5 million immigrants. It says in the Biden administration is on pace to match that. It says the last Trump administration sought to withhold money from Los Angeles over its long-standing policy of not allowing police officers to take part in immigration enforcement. During his recent campaign, Trump said he would ask Congress to pass a law outlawing sanctuary cities nationwide. The LA Sanctuary City Law, which was proposed in early 2023, long before Trump's re-election, aims to build a firewall between federal immigration enforcement and city agencies. I don't care what they vote on at the city level. If the federal government says that they will be deported and that they cannot stay over here, that federal government is going to supersede that city council's vote. I don't care what they say or what they do. But since they insist on welcoming these migrants, I say send all of them to LA, that don't get deported, and don't give them no government assistance. When LA becomes overrun with all them illegal migrants and start straining their resources, don't come crying to the rest of the country asking for assistance for these people. You wanted them, you'll have them. But no, I think Trump's probably going to just go on ahead and just ship them on out like the Dominican Republic is doing. So, anyway, federal law supersedes local law anyway, state and local law. There's nothing they can do. If it passes at the federal level, they're going to get deported. There's nothing California or the city of Los Angeles can do about that. So, a new storm is strengthening off of the northwest coast, and it could bring additional damage to the region in California following that bomb cyclone. So it's going to hit California, they're saying, this weekend. More rain. And they said that It will increase throughout the day. In Washington, too, where more than 180,000 homes and businesses remained without power for the third day early Friday morning. So they might have restored some power to some of these homes. But they said close to 200,000 are still without power as of Friday morning. Hurricane force winds from the bomb cyclone early this week battered parts of the state and knocked out power to more than 500,000 customers. At least 2 people were killed in Washington state from strong winds that felled trees. One was a woman in her 50s from Linwood, north of Seattle, and another killed while showering in her King County home, according to the Bellevue Fire Department. That's sad. So trees fell on their homes. Some of the worst bomb cyclone damage occurred in King County, home to Seattle and its suburbs, according to the Puget Sound Energy. So it caused a lot of damage, that bomb cyclone. And said they're expecting more rain. I'm wondering, did cloud seeding do that? Were they manipulating the weather some kind of way that caused this bomb cyclone? No telling. It says a level 3 of 4 risk of flooding rainfall is in effect Friday for parts of southern Sierra Nevada and the coastal range, just north of the San Francisco Bay Area, according to the Weather Prediction Center. That's a mess. That's a mess. So this is a volcano in southwestern Iceland that's been dormant for over 800 years, has erupted once again, marking its 7th eruption since December. The sudden volcanic activity has sent molten lava into the city, into the Blue Lagoon, and it has caused an evacuation to the world-renowned Blue Lagoon Spa, a popular tourist destination. As the eruption unfolded, local authorities swiftly evacuated tourists from the spa to ensure their safety. The dramatic turn of events has captured global attention, highlighting the unpredictable and powerful nature of volcanic activity in Iceland. I told y'all, in another video, they need to stay they behind Afram. Why are you going to Iceland? What is the point? Iceland has a population, the entire country has a population of less than 500,000 people. I think they said they only have like 390,000 people. I don't understand. But anyway, yeah, they said that thing has erupted 7 times in the last year, I think. And it hadn't been active in 800 years. So you know what that is. These are the birth pangs that the Bible talks about. And like I said, it's getting more intense and more frequent by the day, leading up to the delivery. The delivery of the Son of Man, Jesus Christ, coming back to his return to the earth. Volcanoes that have not been active for 800 years, and all of a sudden it's erupting 7 times in a year, since December, in less than a year, in Iceland. Yeah, Jesus is on his way back. He is on his way back. So with that said, it's going to come back like a thief in the night when we least suspect it. So you got to choose on this day who you will serve, like Joshua said. Choose on this day who you will serve, because he is coming back to get his church, and he will destroy his enemies and all who rejected him. So you better pick a side. You're going to have to pick a side eventually, either way. You keep putting it off all you want. All we can do is just warn you. We can just tell you. So I'm going to stop right there because I've been going now for about an hour. But that's what's going on in the news. But I'm going to make another separate video later on and upload it later on tonight. And this is going to be about the different views of the rapture, what different Christians believe. Because some people believe that the rapture the rapture of the church, meaning that people who accept Jesus as their Lord and Savior is going to be, some people believe that the church is going to be raptured before the tribulation begins. Some people believe that the church is going to be raptured in the middle of the tribulation in 3.5 years, because the tribulation is 7 years. And some believers believe that the church is going to be raptured before. Some people believe the church is going to be raptured in the middle in 3.5 years. during the tribulation, and some people believe the church is gonna be raptured after the 7-year tribulation. So there's different views on that, and I'm gonna go over that in detail. I'm gonna make another video about that because that's very important, because the rapture is near, the tribulation is near. With all these things taking place, it's happening. It's gonna happen. Because I'm gonna put some more videos up here of Elon Musk. There is a video of him. 2 years ago, he went to a Heidi Klum party, Halloween party, wearing a devil's champion costume with an upside down cross in the middle of it and a Baphomet goat on the middle. There's a red and black Halloween costume. This was in 2022. And his mother was dressed as a witch, a black witch. She looked like a witch. She was dressed as a witch. And this is for Halloween. That's how they was dressed. Then there's another video of him saying that he is the #1 world champion of this video game called Diablo 4. Diablo means devil in Spanish. He said that is his favorite video game, and that's what he does. He plays that video game in his pastime. Diablo, devil. That's what it means. So, it don't get no more plainer than that, y'all. I don't know what else. And then this Jared Kushner. Like I said, I have the video about him suggesting the two-state solution with the Palestinian and the Jews over in the Middle East. And then there's another video of him saying that he wants to be... So, yeah. Kushner is literally saying that he wants to live forever. And he will be the first, he said, the first generation to live forever, or among the last generation to die. Told y'all, these people think they want to be immortal. They think that they're God. They think they're above humanity because they have money. Oh, also, I got another news clip that I put up here about those doomsday fish that keep washing up in California. They said, I think they said 3 doomsday fish have washed up in California. And California just had a 3.8 earthquake in LA or near Malibu somewhere. So these doomsday fish keep washing up in California. So I put the video up there so y'all can watch that and see. But people will keep saying, oh, that's just an old wives' tale. That's just superstition. That's just old Japanese myth. But every time that those fish turn up, usually a natural disaster occurs. And that is not just a mere coincidence with that happening. But they said 3 of those oarfish, also known as doomsday fish, have washed up in California in the month of November 3 times. So they just had a 3.8 earthquake today, as a matter of fact. And they said that it was felt in LA and in the Malibu area. So, all right, y'all. Let me stop talking. Let's see, bodies burned after Haitian police. Civilians killed 28 gang members. I already talked about that. It's a lot going on, y'all, though. But all right, I'm going to stop it. I'm going to upload the news stories, and y'all can watch it. And like I said, I'm going to make that other video about the rapture and the different views about the timing of the rapture and the events leading up to the rapture and during the rapture and after the rapture, because that's very important, because a lot of people don't really have a clear understanding of that. And there are different Christian, views. There's the there's the pre-tribulation rapture people. There's the post-trib, the pre-trib, the mid-trib, and the post-trib rapture beliefs. So I'll be discussing those in more detail in the next video. All right, y'all. Peace and be blessed. I will be back, Lord willing, God granted. I will be back later on tonight. All right. Peace.
Elon Musk apparently just became the #1 Diablo 4 player in the world. The mystery of how Elon Musk has so much time to become a world-ranked Diablo 4 player continues, and despite his recent appointment to run the Department of Government Efficiency by Donald Trump, he is demonstrating that efficiency in the form of speed clearing Pit 150 in Diablo 4. It appears he also may have just set a world record, becoming the #1 player in the game. Seriously, I would find this hard to believe had he not posted his sub 2:00 run on Twitter. When he finishes, there is 13:04 left on the clock, and subtracting that from the 1500 hours start time, that's a 156 run. That would put him 3 seconds below current record holder Resistance at 159, and those two are the only tracked players in the world to get under 2 minutes for this run. I remain somewhat baffled as to how this is happening. Yes, Elon is a known Diablo grinder, but to this level? Not only how does he have time, but just how is he doing it? He has essentially the same Quill Volley Spurtborn build everyone else is using, but does he just have different tactics? Is his gear that much more perfect? Is he somehow getting lucky with enemy behavior?
All right, I don't want to spend a ton of time on this last thing, but so many of you wrote to me about it that I do want to acknowledge it. I don't know how else to say it, but Trump looked really ill during his visit to Texas with Elon Musk, and many people noticing, even though he's still obese and his body is huge, his face looks gaunt, and something about what he's now doing to his skin. I don't even know how to describe it. I don't know if it's simply a spray tan or what it is. Just a very ill-looking Trump, almost looking bruised, although that might just be the spray tan gone wrong. His lips are white. His neck looks gaunt. People noticing folds, very strange folds, symmetrical on various parts of his ears and different things. I am not purporting to know what to make of it. I'm acknowledging Trump looks particularly ill in these videos. It's not a white balance issue. Everybody else in the video looks as normal as they normally look. Elon Musk, Don Jr. standing behind him, Don Jr.'s daughter, and everybody else kind of looks normal. I'm not making any assertions as to what's going on here. I'm not making any diagnosis. I'm simply telling you, I got the dozens of messages. Something does look wrong. I will leave it to others, including those who voted for the guy, I guess, to determine whether this is a man that looks like he's about to usher in a new era of health to the United States alongside Robert F. Kennedy Jr. You be the judge and you get back to me. On the bonus show today, the Manhattan District Attorney has agreed to postpone Donald Trump's sentencing in the hush money case. He's Teflon once again. Trump's DOJ Commission is now promising mass federal layoffs and ending work from home. And finally, a new Pew Research study, which I was on BBC last night discussing, finds that news influencers on just about every social platform lean right, despite claims that they lean left. We will discuss that and more on today's bonus show.
Oh, the bonus show where you want to make money, but everybody else that makes money to fund themselves is bad.
Much to Alex Jones' dismay, the bonus show now with a record number of listeners and viewers, thanks to all of our new members. Sign up at joinpacman.com. Remember that you can pre-order my forthcoming book, The Echo Machine, at davidpacman.com/echo. Now we have breached the 3,400 pre-order mark and climbing. I'll see you on the bonus show, and I'll be back here tomorrow. Ever walk into a store and have absolutely no idea what wine to get? It happens to me every single time because I don't know anything about wine, which is why I love our sponsor, Naked Wines. Naked Wines is a subscription service that just connects you directly to the world's finest independent winemakers, so you can get award-winning wine delivered straight to your door. With my code PACMAN, you can get 6 bottles for just $39.99. My girlfriend likes white wine. I know I'm more of a red wine guy, even if I'm generally clueless. So we usually get the split box from Naked Wines, which has both. Naked Wines believes that great wine is an experience, and they're all about helping you connect with your friends, family, community over a shared bottle of wine. You get background information on each bottle. So when I have friends over, I can actually tell everybody where the wine came from and sort of sound like I know a little bit of something. And you can pause or cancel at any time. Head to nakedwines.com/Pakman and put in my code Pakman for both the code and the password for 6 bottles of wine for just $39.99 with shipping included. The link is in the description.
The International Criminal Court has issued arrest warrants for Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant for alleged war crimes in the Gaza Strip. It's also issued warrants for Hamas leader Mohammed Diab al-Masri. Let's bring in Step Vassen, who's on the phone from The Hague, where those arrest warrants were issued. Talk to us about what the rejects for these warrants say, Step.
Yes, the court has just issued these arrest warrants, 3 arrest warrants, one for Hamas leader known as Dave, and 2 for the Israeli leaders Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister, and Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. The arrest warrants are for crimes against humanity and war crimes committed from at least October 8, 2023, until the request for the arrest warrants was issued by the prosecutor 6 months ago on May the 20th. There have been some really serious delays for issuing these arrest warrants. There was a lot of questions about if the ICC was capable of doing so, despite a lot of...
So 4 days after President Biden allowed Ukraine to strike parts of Russia with U.S.-built and proffered missiles, Putin is threatening to retaliate with strikes against U.S. facilities and says his military hit Ukraine today with a medium-range hypersonic ballistic missile. The Pentagon just responded moments ago. Watch this.
We've seen this type of, dangerous, reckless rhetoric before from President Putin. What we're focused on is continuing to support Ukraine with what it needs.
Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Yingst reports live from Kyiv. He has been watching all of this up close and was in the tunnels with President Zelensky just the other day. Trey, what about this new development?
Yeah, Martha, good afternoon. We know that overnight, Russia launched a new missile into Ukraine, targeting the southern city of Dnipro. This was the first time that such a large weapon was used on the battlefield since this conflict began 2.5 years ago. And it raises questions about the message that Russia is trying to send. Ukraine initially claimed the missile was an intercontinental ballistic missile, but Russian President Putin says it was an intermediate ballistic missile. The Russian leader said in the future, civilians will be warned to leave areas where more advanced missiles will be launched. Putin added this about the involvement of the West.
We consider ourselves in the right to use our weapons against those nations that use their weapons against us. And in terms of escalation, we will respond as surely and clearly.
The escalation comes as Ukrainian forces are now targeting deeper into Russia using U.S. and British-supplied long-range missiles, while overnight, the Biden administration approved the transfer of anti-personnel mines to Ukraine. These moves are seen by the Russians as crossing a red line, prompting officials here in Kyiv to brace for an increase in missile and drone attacks. Martha?
All right, Trey, thank you very much.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.
Meanwhile, Russian President Vladimir Putin says he tested a new intermediate-range missile in a strike on Ukraine. The new attack follows Ukrainian strikes on Russian soil this week that used U.S.-made long-range missiles. Our Charlie D'Agata is following the conflict from the Pentagon.
U.S. officials tell CBS News that the missile that struck the eastern city of Dnipro is what they described as an experimental intermediate-range ballistic missile, and it's the first of its kind to be used in this conflict. And Pentagon officials said this afternoon Russia had warned the United States before firing that missile through nuclear risk reduction channels. So initial reports out of Ukraine described it as an ICBM. President Zelensky himself saying that the missile had the same kind of parameters, speed, altitude of an intercontinental ballistic missile. That's, of course, a concern because of the range they cover in a short period of time, and that they're capable of carrying a nuclear warhead, not that this one was. But U.S. officials said they had warned Ukraine and allies in recent days that Russia was likely to test a new weapon, and Russia only has a handful of these weapons. In a nationally televised address today, Russian President Vladimir Putin confirmed that Russia had launched a new medium-range ballistic missile, these are his words, with a non-nuclear warhead. And he warned there would be more on the way. U.S. defense systems cannot stop them, he said, and Russia would give advance warning before the next launch in order to avoid civilian casualties, he says. So he said it was in response to Ukrainian strikes inside Russia using U.S. and British-supplied longer-range missiles. He had already changed the Russian nuclear doctrine, lowering the bar to use nuclear weapons in self-defense. The decision to allow Ukraine to use those U.S.-supplied ATACMS, followed by the British version, the Storm Shadow, came after more than 10,000 North Korean troops entered this fight alongside Russian forces in the Kursk region, U.S. officials say. So on several fronts, this conflict is now escalating, now more than 1,000 days since it began. Scott?
Charlie D'Agata, thank you very much.
This is a sophisticated operation. It's not some guy that's going down to the local pawn shop.
1 week after we found out about some of those high-end burglaries targeting Chiefs stars Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce, tonight Fox 4 is learning about who could be behind them. It appears to be a highly intelligent crime ring. I'm Kevin Barry.
I'm Lauren Halifax. Now, this, of course, is related to the video we showed you last week. Burglars hit another high-end home here in the metro and stole hundreds of thousands of dollars in jewelry. Fox 4's Malik Jackson's been investigating and joins us live now with new information you'll see only on Fox 4. Malik, the story seems to get bigger every day.
Yeah, the picture here is starting to fully be painted. Not only how sophisticated these criminals are, but how quick they are moving. And while this may be isolated, it may be targeted, it is not isolated. And tonight, multiple sources confirm with Fox 4 that these criminals that are part of this ring that have hit houses here in the metro are part of a South American crime ring, which came to no surprise to our security experts. Less than a week after Fox 4 first showed you this exclusive video of two thieves pulling off in the end what turned out to be a burglary worth over $500,000. Tonight, multiple sources tell us who the thieves in these hazmat-style suits are, members of a South American crime ring.
It doesn't surprise me at all, Malik, that this crime spree that's going across the entire country is designed by some very sophisticated people in somewhat of a cartel.
Mike Barberi is a security expert who's worked with the federal government and law enforcement and has run security detail in more than 20 countries.
So if you have
Two undocumented Venezuelan men are accused of placing a skimmer on bank ATM machines in both Missouri and Kansas. They allegedly stole thousands of dollars from unsuspecting victims.
The cities they hit are on your screen now. You can see 6 in Missouri and 1 in Kansas. KMBC 9's Andy Alcock is live in Lee's Summit, one of the places hit, tracking their crime. Andy?
Yeah, Laura and Kelly, we are told the men specifically targeted Bank Midwest ATMs in our general area, including this one here in Lee's Summit. According to Richmond Police Chief Scott Bagley, surveillance video shows the suspects at the ATM at Bank Midwest there. A flock camera set up in town was also able to capture a picture of the car and get the license plate. Now, the two suspects are Darwin Gabriel Moreno Conde and Yorbin Alan Hernandez. According to the Ray County complaint against them, there are at least 45 victims from the Richmond ATM card skimmer who are out about $6,700. The two men are believed to be involved in similar skimming incidents in Edwardsville, Kansas, Lee's Summit, Raymore, and Liberty.
This has been happening all over the metro area over the last couple months. They were involved in an incident in Edwardsville where they had actually physically caught them putting the skimmer on the ATM terminal, and a pursuit had basically kicked up, and they weren't able to take that individual in custody at the time, but they did leave some belongings behind.
And the two men were tracked to Kirkwood in the St. Louis area, arrested there, and brought back to Richmond to face the charges from that case over there. Now, we are told each one of them would have to post a $250,000 cash bond to get out of the Ray County Jail. Reporting live in Lee's Summit, Andy Alcock, KMBC 9 News.
All right, thank you, Andy. A Detroit, Michigan immigration judge has a pending order to deport Alan Hernandez. Moreno Conde is due in immigration court in Dallas, Texas next August.
Hour this morning, NBC News has learned that much of Donald Trump's first day in office is likely to focus on stopping illegal immigration, and he's expected to sign at least 5 executive orders on that issue after he's sworn in, according to 3 Trump allies who spoke on condition of anonymity. On Tuesday, Los Angeles passed a sanctuary city ordinance preventing the use of city resources in enforcing federal immigration plans. Joining us now, Hugo Soto Martinez, a Los Angeles City Council member who introduced the ordinance alongside 2 other members. Councilman, thank you for being with us. It's great to see you. What, if you would, explain to us what the definition of sanctuary city is for Los Angeles?
Yeah, I think we wanted to make it very clear that that although the federal government has a lot of power over, the resources, that the city of Los Angeles will not be collaborating or using any city resource to enforce his deportation machine, because we feel it's important that that we empower folks here and know that they feel safe, and that we're protecting families from what may come down the road.
And Councilman, where is the line? What's the difference between, for example, protecting our 80-year-old abuelitas, right, and our parents, but also finding and detaining criminals that may be in your city?
Well, look, I think we all agree that 99.9% of the folks that are here from another country are very much like my family, who came here undocumented and were street vendors for a very long time, that they were able to buy their home, and both of them are now citizens. And my parents didn't have to fear that they were going to be deported when they were taking me to school or picking up groceries. And so we're trying to protect 99.9% of the folks that fall within that category and not fall into the divisive tactics of this upcoming president.
Councilman, it's so easy to say and to hear, and I know it's not easy to say it in many ways, but just the stories of superación, right, and of the American dream that your parents had, and it's really remarkable that we're living in a country where that kind of dream can and certainly has come true for so many, but there are so many pitfalls there.
Oh, absolutely. Look, and if you look at what's happening in this country now, we see that it's so expensive to live in the city of Los Angeles. Senior citizens are the largest likely to become homeless, and so it's not just about protecting folks that make up the fabric, entrepreneurs of our city, but also make sure that they can thrive and be empowered, which is another thing that we also have to lead on in the city of LA. And I think that also has the effect of giving the larger population a vision of what the city could look like. But we can't be doing it by trying to sacrifice folks that are just coming here to work and make a living and uplift their families.
Hugo Soto Martinez from Los Angeles, I thank you very much. It's a pleasure seeing you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
And now to the Caribbean nation of Haiti, where gangs launched a large-scale attack in one of the most upscale neighborhoods in the capital, Port-au-Prince, on Tuesday. Loaded in trucks and buses, hundreds of gang members stormed into the most posh areas of the Haitian capital. However, in a surprising twist, civilians picked up weapons and fought the gangs alongside police forces. Residents and police officials erected barricades in the upscale Pétionville and forced the gang members into narrow alleyways where they were gunned down. Local media reports said that in a fit of rage, the civilians beheaded the dead bodies of the gang members and set them on fire. Locals say they felt empowered after handing Jimmy Chedizier's gang a brutal defeat.
Since midnight, they've just brought men here, armed to the teeth, youths and women with suitcases on their backs, full of ammunition and weapons. Us, the population of Gros Morne, we do not know who sent them, if it is the member of the government, if it is Barbecue, if it is Vital Home, or whoever sent them here. We sent them a clear answer. We're not going to give up the area. We're not going to leave the area. And the day we rise up, nobody will stop us, neither the government nor the bandits, nor anyone else who's stopping us from living. We're asking for unity because no one will force us to flee our neighborhood.
Haiti's National Police spokesperson has put the death toll at 30, with at least 28 being gang members. Authorities added that several other gang members had been wounded in the firefight but have gone into hiding since the shootout. Haiti's police chief lauded the incredible fight put up by the local residents who only had stones and bottles with which to fight. However, the civilians say they only picked up the weapons to fight the gangs because the Haitian government is incapable of providing them security.
I took shelter in the Ministry of National Education in Maison, and the state could not give us security to stay there. Celino fought to resist. We fought with stones, with bottles. Today we find ourselves in this situation, fleeing and running. The state does not provide us security. There are a lot of gang members who were killed by the police and the public. Those who run away go into hiding.
After the shootout, locals were seen looting weapons and ammunition off the dead bodies of the gang members. And the police and local-led response to armed gangs has turned out to be a disaster for the criminals. However, with civilians now being forced to pick up arms and defend themselves, how does it reflect on Haiti's leadership and military who have failed to protect millions of innocents from armed gangs?
Two kilometers down this hole, hundreds of mine workers are believed to be trapped. The miners are called Zamazamas, loosely translated to mean those who are trying. They operate as part of unlicensed mining syndicates. They often stay underground for months at a time, relying on food deliveries from local businesses and family members. Now, police have cut those supplies and closed off other exits in an attempt to force the miners above ground. Police say this is part of a wider plan to curb violent crime, which they say is driven by illegal miners.
At this particular area where we are, at one point in the past year,
we picked up about 20 bodies of these illegal miners that had been fighting each other over the turf. So we came with this strategy to say, let's put a stop to all these illicit mining activities, because there is that proof.